So I want to play fair use. I want to have a discussion. Now I know that these two stitch. I think they're from Africa, and they stitch a lot of things that are happening in America, as I think all people across the globe are doing. They're just sitting there watching what's happening here in America. But I just wanted to say, start this off that in 2022, I worked at a um, I worked at an office to get and to promote Democratic um, electees from the state of Nevada. Okay, and I also worked in 2024 to try to get Kamala Harris elected. Okay, because I knew what another presidency under Trump would be, especially when his smug ass, was saying, "Oh, we took away Roe v. Wade and women's right to choose, and their safety and their health, their health care for their bodies and things like that." Like I, I knew what this presidency was gonna be, but let's listen here.
Nebraska. What about Nebraska? Does anyone not care about Nebraska? Why should they? I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care? What about Nebraska? What about Nebraska? Does anyone not care about Nebraska? Why should they? Coming from somebody who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, us blue voters, we did our part, okay? Including Lincoln. And what's so funny is I keep seeing all these farmers showing up on my For You page now because I live in Nebraska and that's all I'm going to see. What did y'all think was going to happen?
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. First time here,
No, someone's going to be in my comments.
Shit, hold on.
I just know someone's going to be in my comments screaming and yelling till they red in the face. I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Do you care about Nebraska? Because I have a feeling you voted for this. I mean, Nebraskans don't even care about Nebraska. Let me ask you another question. Who exactly did you think were going to work in the fields and in the farms after all of the regular day laborers, people of color, are no longer there anymore? Who did you think was going to do it? Did you think there was just this army of white workers ready to get into those farms and pick all the vegetables? Now people like you who voted for this to happen are upset that something's affecting you, because what people like you tend to really vote for, it's not the economy. It's because you want to express racism and bigotry, and he was the only way that you could do that. But now it's affecting you. All those farms are disappearing, including that 300-year-old farm. And you want to know why nobody's upset at that? It's because you guys did it to yourself. You'd rather vote to have your racism easily spread across the United States instead of thinking about yourself, because you always vote against your own interest, don't you? And isn't it just like you? You voted to hurt other people, but now when it's starting to hurt you, you want us to feel sympathetic for you.
You need to admit that you voted the way you did because you thought it would affect other people in a negative way. You weren't really listening to what he was saying, because he said this from the start.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a farm, if you are a farmer, you had to know that a lot of your workforce were undocumented migrants. You had to know that. I don't see what other result would have came out of this if this is what you wanted.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?
Hey, girl. As a Texan from a cattle ranching family now living in Florida, we did. We cared about y'all so much. That's why we told y'all for so long. Gosh, I've been screaming it for, I don't know, since at least, the Tea Party. 08, 09. We broke it down. Project 2025. Over and over. Y'all didn't listen. So now my only responses is first, bless your fucking heart. Second of all, this is what you voted for. So they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
So the big question on TikTok right now is, does anybody care about Nebraska? Super quick. Is this y'all? Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off this early. So first of all, no one gives a fuck that that's happening to you. You deserve it. Second of all, next time that there is an election, let's not be so simple-minded. Especially when the man that you're voting for literally fucking told you he would cut federal funding for your farms. He would deport all of your workers, and now you want us to give a fuck? I'm sorry, bitch. He literally said it in his campaign. Like, do your fucking homework. The worst part, educated individuals like myself voted for you, but guess what? Your vote counts just as much as mine, even though you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Does anybody care about Nebraska? That's the question that's going around TikTok right now, and to that, I respond with two questions. Did Nebraska care about anybody else? And does Nebraska care about Nebraska? Because, you see, God helps those who help themselves. And when you Nebraskans walked into the voting booth and overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump to be president, and now you're feeling the effects of that, this isn't I told you so. This is an FAFO. And I know there are Nebraskans out there that voted for Kamala Harris and did not fall into the trap of Donald Trump. Unfortunately, there were not enough of you. And now the rumors, and I'm having a hard time substantiating some of this, but the vibe that's going around is that Nebraska basically looks to be bankrupt in about 6 months because of the undocumented migrants that are being deported, or just the fact that undocumented migrants make up a large portion of their state and workforce on the farms, and they're not showing up to work because they're now afraid they're going to be deported.
I just wanted to say and interject in here is the fact that how evil that Project 2025 is, and that was put into effect, and Trump lied, bold-faced lied in the cameras and said he knew nothing about Project 2025. Meanwhile, his name is scribed in those documents over 325 times. Okay? And he lied bold-faced to the camera. So one of the things that they're going to do is they wanted the farmers to lose these migrant workers. So it was a twofold thing. They wanted to get rid of any brown people that could vote against their best interests, these white supremacists. Okay? So that was one of the reasons why they're deported. It's not because they're committing crimes. It's not because they're doing this and they're doing that. Because it's a very small portion of people that are undocumented that are committing crimes. It's not that many. Okay? So, the other reason is that they wanted these farmers to go under. And these farmers voted thinking that Trump had their best interests, and I don't know how many times. And before I even worked for Kamala Harris campaign, before I worked for the Democrats in 2022, which I don't consider myself a Democrat per se. But I also know that when there's an ill effect about to take place, I'm not going to vote against myself or the best interests of other people. I don't vote strictly for myself. Okay? I literally call myself an independent. On the scrolls, I'm an independent. And I voted Democrat because I knew the battle that was about to ensue. And I worked for the Kamala Harris campaign because I knew I didn't want Trump in office. So these farmers have been lied to. And they're about to lose their farms. And it's by design. It's not just, oh my God, this just so happened to happen because the migrant workers aren't here to pull the crops and do this and do that and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, it's because they want to take the land back. The oligarchy that people think is a myth, or these imperialists, Trump is an imperialist, the people that he's put in power are imperialists, millionaires, billionaires, they want to take the land. And what better way for them to default on their loans and for them to be able to take their land? This is what the fuck is happening. So people that have had their farms in their families for 200 and 300 years, you can kiss that shit goodbye, because that's what's about to happen. Sad to say. Let's continue.
So Nebraskans, especially farmers in Nebraska, Did you think any further than the front of your face?
What's going on, y'all? My topic for today is, yes, we care about Nebraska.
He's too sympathetic. Let me continue. He's very, very sympathetic, and I get it, but at this point, it's a frustration.
One, whether that, you know who worked for you. You know. I feel like there needs to be some admittance. So, like I said, people aren't hating Nebraska, and that's just one instance, because there's many states that this could fit into.
Yes.
This could fit into that category, but
let me just say this. Also, let me interject. And he's too compassionate. I mean, I can't say he's too compassionate, but the point is you can't baby people that literally voted on a man because of racism, and you happen to be a black man, and they want you to suffer. They want black women to suffer. They want Hispanic people to suffer. They want Asian people to suffer. They want everybody else to suffer. And you're showing way too much compassion for people who basically voted out of racism. But I want to say this. So, working for the Kamala Harris campaign, there were like 10 people from our office that went to Nebraska. They also went to Ohio, and they're from Las Vegas. They went to work on this campaign to go to these farmers, to go around to these different places in Nebraska and try to get them to vote Democrat. They tried to get them to vote Kamala Harris. And 2 of those people were assaulted by white racists in our office. Had to have stitches and everything in their eye, in the back of their head. And those 2 went to Nebraska for this campaign to try to get Nebraskans on page with Kamala Harris. We all knew what the fuck was going to happen. So people have really tried. And I know people, I would have been there had I not had a senior dog that I needed somebody to take care of. I would have flown down there. I would have been there. But I have 2 dogs, and the one dog is a senior, and he has special needs. However, I didn't go because of that. But people have been trying to warn these states that voted for Trump for the longest time. Because all of the benefits that these states have had is because other states have carried them financially. So whenever they've gotten in trouble, other states' money federally carried them. They never thought that the money would run out, that Elon and Trump would turn the faucet off on that money train to help those states, because Democrats have been always there to help, or to get in there and to help them to make sure that they survive and that they don't crumble. But that wasn't good enough. That was not good enough. They had to go ahead and vote for Trump. And now this is what's happening.
People aren't hateful to Nebraska.
I gotta put it to this lady. Okay, let's
Cannot believe.
People aren't hateful to Nebraskans. People want to love on Nebraskans. You know what I'm saying? But Nebraskans have to answer those questions first. You have to at least answer those questions to yourself. Why did you vote for him? You got to answer that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't be tricked again. Thank you for your time. Out.
I cannot believe that my family farm and my home state of Nebraska are going to be flat broke within 6 months. I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe that the undocumented workers who basically drive our entire agricultural economy just got up and left. They just left. Why? Because we voted for Trump? Because we voted to have them torn from their homes in the middle of the night by ICE because we wanted to see their families ripped apart because we don't like brown people, so they just abandoned us in our hour of need before we were able to like replace them with, I don't know, like white teenagers or something like that, you know, like before we were able to identify and employ an entire demographic of people who's willing to make less than minimum wage for terrible working conditions. I can't believe this is happening. If only somebody had told us that this was a possibility. If only somebody like Kamala Harris or Tim Walz or Bernie Sanders or any of the liberal politicians, Jasmine Crockett and Gavin Newsom from California, or, you know, almost every major media outlet, or every economist in the nation, or all of the liberals. If only somebody had told us that undocumented workers are absolutely vital to the existence of our agricultural industry. If only somebody had said that 1,000 times, day after fucking day. If only somebody had said, hey, they're not replaceable because white American teenagers do not want to work for slave labor wages in the fields in the hot sun. They are not going to be replaceable. If only someone had said that repeatedly through a megaphone for literally a year. If only somebody had said that using your vote as a stick with which to beat undocumented minorities might be a bad idea. Because we've come to rely on them, haven't we? Yeah. If only someone had said that. Maybe someone would give a shit, you know? Good luck, though.
Well, anyways, enough of that. The point is, people have tried. So, one of the things that Trump said was deep state, deep state, deep state. Oh, there's corruption in deep state. There wasn't to the magnitude that it is now. So one of the reasons why Elon Musk hasn't gone before Congress and the Senate is because everything that they're talking is lies. They haven't brought not one stitch of proof. And if they come to Congress right now, they'll be making up documentation that is false. They've gotten enough time to do it. But had they come in and done what they were supposed to do when they were supposed to do it, I mean, Elon got busted in Canada for millions and billions of dollars of falsifying documentation concerning his corporation. And why would you not think that he would not do that to any of these different agencies in America? IRS, Social Security, all of these different agencies. He's going to try and do it because he's already tried to do it to Canada, which they busted him. So deep state. You can't get more deep state than Trump, Elon Musk illegally seizing these agencies and going in and gutting them. That's deep state. That's some deep state shit. So this is the thing about farmers in America and people like the farmers in America. You don't understand what narcissists are like that. But you have a president, and I really, really hope you do research on narcissists, because Elon Musk is a narcissist. Trump is a narcissist, and everybody that Trump has put into these agencies as his baseline, the majority of them are narcissists. So if once you find out what a narcissist is and what narcissists do, then maybe you can roll back everything that Trump has said to you before you elected him as president, and fully understand what the fuck a narcissist will tell you. And at this point, I don't know what can be done. And everybody's going to suffer. Not just Nebraska.